And there was this batsman. He was batting. He was like taking everyone apart. He was taking Taskeen apart. He was taking Mustafiz apart, and he was showing such class. And me and a friend of mine who went, we couldn't figure out who this batsman was because we're like, yeah, this guy's not very short. So we were first thinking it's Leeton, but then we're like, no, this.
All right, guys. So this is the ninth episode of our podcast. We are rebranding. We're calling it the Yorker, and you've seen these guys before, obviously. Just look at Mufi, Rinat.
Hey,
Hey,
So, and I know everyone's really excited for the Asia Cup. We're 5 days separated from the first game with Sri Lanka. So, just right off the bat, how are you feeling, guys? Excited, nervous, Rinat?
yeah, I'm really looking forward to this tournament. I mean, Asia Cup something it always excites me for some reason, and sometimes even more than like in the ICC Championship and even the T20 World Cup. I feel like I like the Asia Cup a lot more, especially when it's a 50 over. Thank God. Um, yeah, I look forward to it. It's like all the Asian rivalries coming together, and I'm very excited because Bangladesh has had a little bit of a break, and now they get to come back on a format that we're supposed to be pretty good at. Conditions are gonna be pretty good to us too. So I'm pretty excited. What about you, Mufi?
yeah, I'm also nervous at the same time as well. As you said, Asia Cup is very exciting because, I mean, probably as exciting as the Champions Trophy. Because when you think about the Asia Cup, is the passion in cricket
Yeah.
world is in this region, right? So you have India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh, and also Afghanistan. So these are the five teams that are almost on equal terms on ODIs. I mean, India probably have an edge, I would say, going into this tournament, but they don't have Kohli. So it'll be a very interesting tournament, and Pakistan is always a very good team in this sort of tournaments and coming from the Champions Trophy win. So yeah, it'll be very exciting. It's a 50 over game, and any team can beat the other team in their days. So except for the Hong Kong, right? That's the sixth team. So, except that the five teams are very competitive, and it'll be the format is also good. In the second round, all the teams are gonna play with the other three teams as well. So, yeah, I mean, something to look forward to after a good West Indies tour in the ODIs and the T20s for us.
Right. Uh, well, what about the expectations? Because I hear views from all around. Some people they're kind of underestimating Afghanistan. I feel just because it's ODI, they're saying it's not T20, so obviously that means we're going to roll them over. But I don't see quite the same confidence with Sri Lanka because of course they're no Afghanistan. They're a better team in any given day. They're a much better team. So going into the first ODI, which is going to be on the 15th, I was looking up the stadium. It's in Dubai International Stadium. Just a fun fact about the stadium, I looked this up. So there are actually no floodlights in the traditional sense, but rather there are these little balls of light all around the stadium, and they call that the Ring of Fire. So it's a pretty cool stadium. It's a neutral venue. These games are going to be clutch. I feel like the world's highs they are on the units, all the different cricket units that the boards have put out, and we know the squad members by now, especially from Bangladesh. So Rina, uh, maybe I should ask you this last, but I'll turn it around and what do you just give us your predictions? What do you think will happen versus Sri Lanka?
Um, well, it's going to be a very tight game. I feel like I actually don't know if it's going to be a tight game, but especially on strength, it's a very 50-50 game. Sri Lanka is a very good side. I mean, they have some great spinners in their side, which I imagine will will be useful in the Dubai conditions. Um, the seamers, I feel like in the heat, I think it's a little tougher for the seamers to go through their overs, and spinners usually do a better job in Dubai, anyways. So I feel like Sri Lanka is gonna have that one advantage. But where batting is concerned, I feel like our batting unit is actually way stronger than what Sri Lanka's batting side is. So it's going to be a game against their spinners versus our batsmen, and I still think that we have a clear edge there, but it's just about who's gonna hold the nerve at that given day.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Ronald. At the same time, this Sri Lankan team is a more mature team, as you can see in the squad. Matthews is back, so is Chandimal. So is Malinga is also back for the Asia Cup. So
Yeah,
this will be a very interesting. This is a very experienced, very mature Sri Lankan team. So we cannot take them lightly because with these players, with Matthews, with Chandimal, with Malinga, with Mendes, with Thisara Pereira, they have a lot of experience amongst these guys,
Yeah.
and they have played against us, so they know our strengths, they know our weaknesses as well, and all these players are very knowledgeable about the game. So I think it's not going to be an easy game as opposed to so the way I see the Asia Cup is with our two games with Sri Lanka and Afghanistan, they're completely different games. With Afghanistan, it'll be a more passionate game. It'll be more like Afghanistan trying to prove a point rather than Sri Lanka will be more incisive. And with Hatra Singh as the coach, he has that inside knowledge of our team. He basically knows probably our final 11, the full squad. He has coached all of them. So he has a very good inside knowledge of our team. So I think overall, it'll be a very competitive, and there is no room for like we have to win the first two games. If we lose the first one, it'll be very difficult for us to go to the next round. So there is no room for error. It's just we have to perform really well, and I think that's why it's very important to come up with a very balanced 11.
Right. It's just to go back on that. I was reading that Niroshan Dickwella he replaced Chandimal, or is Chandimal now back? Just want to be sure on that.
I mean, in the latest squad that is in Cricket, for Chandimal is still in the squad.
Okay, okay. I was reading somewhere that Niroshan Dickwella might replace him. But even Chandimal aside, I think they have a pretty good batting lineup, which is comparable to ours. When you look at Kusaljana Pereira, Mendes, who's turning out to be a very technically orthodox batsman, and they have Upal Taranga, the experienced guy, of course. So it's
Hmm.
not really that far off from the lineup that we have. I think we have to capitalize on their bowling, which is still relatively new. They're always experimenting. I know there are the two different Jaisirias, the spinners they brought out, so they're not settled yet. And I think if we're going to beat them, we need to post a high score, whether that be batting first and batting them out of the game, or if you're going to chase them, we need to make sure we bat well. Because batting wise, I don't see that much of a difference. What do you think, Rinat? Shin? Can we capitalize on the bowling they have? Can we capitalize on that?
we probably can, especially with the batting attack we have. But the problem is we actually don't know how our batting lineup is gonna look like with Tamim injured, and Shakib is still not 100% according to the recent media news papers and whatnot. So that's right away you're missing two major components from our batting attack. So we can't we our batting lineup is kind of unpredictable at this point. So it's tough to say. But yeah, if our batting lineup is anything close to what it was against the West Indies, I think we our batting lineup is pretty good to handle their bowling attack, seamers or spinners. Yeah,
I mean, the only concern that I have right now is that Tamim not being 100%. So he has still some pain on his hand. And also the Shakib, he said he's still not feeling his 100% as well. So, I mean, we need these two players to come and contribute because, as we know, the young players are not coming in. So it's the senior players. It's the Tamim, Shakib, Mushfiq, Riyad, and Mashrafi that is doing the bulk of the work. That is carrying this team. So having Tamim and Shakib both not at 100% is not a good start to our campaign. But other than that, I think both of them will play. Tamim will play as of now. So will Shakib. So it's just um, we have to come with a good batting order now because we don't have Shabir anymore. We have Mossadegh also coming back into the team, into the ODI. We have Ariful brought back, and we have another top order
We have
batsman in.
Mitoon and we
Yes,
have
Mitoon. Yeah.
Mominul.
So Mominul also came as a replacement if in case Shakib is not playing. So I think Mitoon, I don't know how they're gonna fit. The last time I read into an interview with Mashrafi, he said he's gonna use Mitoon in that number 6, number 7 position, coming in the late order and score some quick runs. Basically a replacement for Shabir at that. So he had a good tour of Ireland, and but what I've seen in international matches, he crumbles under the pressure. So I don't know if he can handle the pressure. Because at that at that place at number 6 and number 7, you're only gonna get like 10 or 15 balls or 15 to 20 balls. So you don't have the time to come in and see off some balls. You just have to come in straight out, like start like hitting the balls. So Tamim and Leighton will open, and I think in the Shakib will come at number 3, and at number 4 Mushfiq and Riyad 4 and 5, and that 6 and 7 is my concern with this team. Do we play Ariful or do we play Mossadegh or do we play Mitoon?
Right. And to that, I'm going to say I was reading that our batting consultant Mackenzie, he's drilling these guys like Mitu and Mossadegh to be very effective later down the order. My
Mm-hmm.
my contention, however, is that Mossadegh is not that guy. He's not that type of
Right.
batsman. Mitun could be. He was tested in T20 before. Kind of seemed like a hack, but it's a very tough job just coming in and hitting.
But that's what we need at number 6 and number 7. We need someone who can come in and just hack.
Yeah.
Right. Uh, so, but Mossadegh.
I
Yeah, go ahead, Rina.
I just want to add something. I remember going to a practice when I was in my last trip to Bangladesh this earlier this year in Jan, and I was sitting in the stands, and I was watching all the batsmen in the nets in the center wicket. They were batting, and there was this batsman. He was batting. He was like taking everyone apart. He was taking Taskeen apart. He was taking Mustafiz apart, and he was showing such class. And me and a friend of mine who went, we couldn't figure out who this batsman was because we're like, yeah, this guy's not very short. So we were first thinking it's Leeton, but then we're like, no, this it doesn't look like it's Leeton either. And then we tried to figure out because he was looking so fluent. And then when he finished his practice and he was walking back, we actually figured out it was Mitun. So it's funny because in the practice he was like, honestly, I watched Tamim practice that day. I watched Shakib, I watched Riyad, Shanto, all those guys, Liton, and Mitun was actually looking the best, like clearly the best batsman out of them all. And we were astonished when we actually figured out it was Mitun. So I feel like for Mitun, it's an issue about nerves. I mean, he does perform in the domestics, and that kind of shows his BPL was pretty good. So I really hope that this reinvention of him or redefining his role, I hope it works because I think so. What went wrong for Mitun when he was brought in is his technique was not the greatest against the new ball. Right, he was getting out to mostly LBs and in bowled outs and or
Yeah.
caught behind. So those were the kind of dismissals where he was like his nerve was showing. It was against the new ball. So maybe it is a smart ploy by the think tank. Whoever thought it, I don't know. Uh, Although I do suspect that it's our new head coach that made this call because he actually went to Ireland. He saw the last couple games, so it may have been him.
On the reports
Uh,
that I've seen, it was mostly Mashrafi and the head coach. They both came up with this idea.
yeah. For Mashrafi, it makes sense because Mithun played under him in the Rangpur Riders team,
Hmm.
so I can understand how Mashrafi saw him more, and then now the head coach. So I really hope that this does work out, but it like the think tank has to also understand that they're potentially giving this squad to someone, uh, and at the same time they're taking it away from someone who is maybe meant for that spot. It's not a reinvention like someone like Ariful. He is a finisher by attributes. So if they give it to Mitun better be performing because they're taking a spot away from a natural finisher to
But
accommodate
but
him.
but Rinat, I do disagree here because Ariful played in the T20s, right? We don't know how he's going to fare in ODI. Maybe Mitun will be better than him. I want people to stay in their spots, if that makes sense. Like give them an
Yeah,
extended run at whatever their new responsibility is. So Ariful, I don't think he did too bad in T20s. He did better than Ziad Rahman, you know. So so similarly, Mithun was given his previous chance he got was in T20s, so he should be given this chance in the ODI to prove himself. And if he does good, then I think he should stay. I do prefer Mithun over Ariful, just because I want Ariful to concentrate on T20s.
yeah.
I mean,
Um,
I agree. I mean, I agree too. So Mitun, there's a reason he was brought back. There's a reason he was sent to Ireland, and he did well in Ireland. And out of all those 15 squad members, or there was a lot of people in that team. There was Shomo also. There was Mominul. Out of all those players, it was only Mitun that caught the attention, and so he is in this Asia Cup squad now. So he should be given a chance. And I think that number 6 or number 7 kind of suits him. Going back to Rina's point, that he is not really an opener in the top order, especially in the ODIs when you have to kind of be patient in the first couple of overs. Maybe in the T20 you can come and just start blasting the balls, but maybe in the ODI, so he'll struggle. So maybe that's why number 6 or number 7 is a better position for him, and I think he should play against Sri Lanka.
Right. And I don't know where you guys stand on this. If Mossadegh does play, I think it's unfair for him to come in the 45th and be expected to just whack it from ball one, because he's not that guy. If what I'm getting to is Tamim and Shakib, if they have those partnerships, they must not slow down to the extent where they give Mossadegh his chance when it comes to the 45th over. I know it's I don't know what do you guys think of this? Should Mossad is it fair for to expect a batsman who like Mossadegh to come in the 45th, or should he?
But there's not enough spots open in the top order or in the middle order. So Shakib is coming in at 3, and you can potentially put him at number 4 and push Mushfiq and Riyad back to 5 and 6. That can be an option. So Mossadegh can come in, and in those middle overs, granted if we don't lose any wickets at the in the beginning, he can come and build that anchor that innings, and then Mushfiq and Riyad can come
Yeah,
and finish the innings. That can be an option.
I just know every match there are complaints about Tamim and Riyad. Shakib, Mushfiq not so much because they score at a fast pace. There are problems with the what do you call the strike rates of Tamim and Riyad because people complain. So I just don't want them to slow down. That's what I'm saying. I want them to keep scoring at a higher rate, and in case they fail, then Mossadegh can come in somewhere around the 40th, and that should give them enough time to bat till 45th and then launch from there on. That's
I'm
my
actually gonna disagree. I'm gonna disagree with that. I do not want Tamim to speed up. I mean, we need him. We have seen our batting lineup takes a complete new dimension once he gets out early. I
I can't
if
disagree with
there's
that. Yeah.
one if there's one batsman I would want to stay as long as possible, that's Tamim. I know his strike rates get slower as we progress, but we have to deal with it because he with his consistency he's actually way more consistent than every other batsman you
Oh
can
yeah.
think of. Shakib, Mushfiq, Riyad, doesn't matter. So we're basically exchanging consistency for a little bit of a strike rate. We can afford to do that with one batsman, but yeah, in terms of Riyad, I don't know. For Riyad, on most days he's pretty good with scoring. There are some days where he comes in absolutely at the last two or 1 or 2 overs left, and he kind of can't get some of those big shots out. He's probably like a 10 ball, 12 runs kind of guy on those days. But
Yeah.
I have seen him when if he gets 5 6 overs, he's usually pretty good at capitalizing the death over.
You're absolutely right. This just made me realize. Actually, for a guy like Mossadegh, he has to bowl well as well. He just can't do it with his batting to justify his inclusion in the team. He must perform pretty well with the ball. Otherwise, because that's just his spot. Because there's no reason to keep Riyad and Mossadegh in the team. But since they're both going to be in, I mean, we'll get to the lineups later. But I do want Mossadegh playing. So in that case, I'm expecting him to do well and get at least 8 overs with the ball.
That's a lot of overs. That's almost a full time 8 overs. So I don't think. I mean, I
Yeah,
also don't agree with the fact that I don't think there's a spot for Mossadegh right now in the
Okay.
11.
yeah,
Okay.
I
Uh,
agree.
yeah, in the 15, yes. We also have to think about if we want to ball, we can just get Miraz. I think in his spot because Miraz will give you that 7 to 8 overs, better overs than Mossadegh will, and he will score that. If there's a collapse, he can come in and score the 15 to 20 runs, which is what Mossadegh will do at best as well. So I mean, then we have to talk about the lineup because then I can explain. I can talk about so having Tamim and Liton at the top, and then number three is Shakib, 4 and 5 Mushfiq and Riyad, 6. I will have Mitun, and at 7 I would have Mashrafi, 8, 9, 10, 11. So Miraz, and I will have three pacers, 9, 10, 11. But then it gives us four pacers, including Mashrafi. So maybe we can play instead of Miraz, we can play Mossadegh or Ariful.
I would I would actually see that's why we have this conversation. It helps so much. So I'm gonna rethink it, and it does make sense to me. I would replace Mirage with Mossadegh, and
Okay.
I would go with the same lineup as yours, simply because I don't trust Mirage as a batsman yet. He has shown me nothing. He's shown me nothing, absolutely nothing with the bat. He's a good bowler, but Mossadegh's not a bad bowler. So Mossadegh I feel has more upsides.
I think he's a Miraz is the better bowler. Mossadegh is the better batsman.
Yeah, yeah. What's your lineup,
Okay.
Rina?
Yeah. I just wanted to ask. I'm sorry. We have been out of cricket for a while. Is Ronnie's in the squad, right?
Oh
Ronnie
yeah, the
is
three. Ronnie is in the squad. Yeah, I checked. Ronnie's in.
Okay, perfect. So my lineup will be as follows. I would put Tamim at number one, Litan at number two, Shakib at number three, Mushfiq at four, Riyad at five, Mitun at six, Ariful at seven, Mash at eight, Ronnie at nine, Rubel at 10, and Fizz at 11. And I'll tell you why. Um, uh, for Mashrafi, like I said this before, he can be brought in earlier, as early as like number six. If we are in a comfortable situation, for him to just come and give it a good whack. But other than that, I think we have a pretty decent batting first four: Tamim, Liton, Shakib, Mushi, and Riyad. So actually, we have a pretty decent five. So we can afford to gamble with both Ariful and Mitun at that in the squad, and I think it may come handy accelerating towards the end. And I'll tell you why I want four seamers is, and I said this before. I think bowling full quotas in Dubai in the heat, it could be a little tough on the seamers, and I don't see the effect Miraz or Opu or Musaddiq would have against Sri Lankans or even Afghanistan. Uh, none of Mossadegh or Miraz or Oppo are big turners. It's going to be a batting friendly wicket for the most part. So I would actually get all four seamers. That's a formula that has worked pretty well for us against Asian oppositions in the past. And I think uh, since Marsh is someone that's not the best at bowling depth, Rubel has his ups and downs. I think Ronnie could really help if he comes and plays in the squad. And Ronnie, if from the very little batting I've seen of him, he's actually one of the more capable hitters among all the bowlers. More capable than Miraz, more capable than Oppo. So yeah, and I agree with Roey that not Roey, sorry, Mufi, that Mossadegh doesn't really have a spot in this lineup right now. The only way he comes in is if we decide to split Shakib, Mushi, and Riyad and put any two of them down the order. Other than that, asking him to come finish the innings is basically betting on a lottery. And I would rather bet on Ariful and Mitun over him at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably what my 11 is.
Yeah, this is a great squad, and you know how much I love Hyder.
But thing is, I do have a concern having both Mitun and Ariful because they're still very new. They are still not that experienced. I don't think the think tank or Mashrafi will go with two new players like that, two new bits and pieces sort of a player. Whereas Mossadegh is more of a complete batsman, so they might just go with Mossadegh and take one of. They will gamble with either Mitun. They won't gamble with both Mitun and Ariful.
Yeah. I understand that. The only reason why I wanted both of them is because first of all, Mitun is by trade. He's not a lower order batsman. He is a top order batsman. He has been batting top order for all his life. So and neither Mitun nor Ariful are exactly new players. They are experienced players. It's true they're coming into the national team at a later than expected age, but if you look at their ages, like holy smokes, they're all over 25 years old. They are pretty experienced. They have played a ton of games, and I have seen Ariful play a pretty good defensive game when required. So yeah, it's a gamble that a lot of other people might not necessarily take, but that was just me. If the top four, if Tamim, Shakib, Mushi, Riyad, all four of them play, I think we can afford to take one gamble. We were taking that with Shabbir anyway. Shabbir was a miss or hit guy on any given day. So we were taking gambles with Shomo, Shabbir, Mossadegh, all three of them in one lineup for a long time. So we were doing that for the longest time. So now it's not much different, right? The only positive is the gamble is down the order, not up the
Right.
order. You actually have a good platform at the top to build a good base. But yeah, I understand. If Mossadegh does play though, I would not want him anywhere down. It has to be number 4 or 5 at the latest.
Yeah, what I like about your lineup, Rinat, is the four pacers thing, and I think that's going to stand out like a sore thumb to anyone who sees that first. So you're going with Mash, Rubel, Mustafiz, and Hyder. Hyder,
Yeah,
I, I back Hyder, so I do want him there. Rubel, I don't know which Rubel I'm getting. Mash is a leader, has to be there. Mustafiz, recently I read that he wasn't at 100% when playing against West Indies. He said that himself, that he was 60%. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting even a better Mustafiz. So
Mm-hmm.
four Pacers could work. Let's discuss Nazmul Islam Opu a little bit. No love for Opu, or what do you guys think?
I think he will be that person that's gonna interchangeable with Abu Haidar, Ronnie. So that's the spot that he's fighting for. So if we go with four seamers, which I think is probably unlikely, we might not see it because we did not see it in the West Indies where the fast bowling is the pitch suits fast bowling. So I don't think we'll see this into the slow pitch in the UAE as well. So I would think there, even though it's a optimistic idea to have four seamers, but I think we'll have three seamers, and Abu Haidar might miss out, and Oppo will end up playing.
The
Right.
only reason I considered Ronnie is because I know they didn't consider him for the ODI series, but the T20 series came after the ODI series ended, and that's basically where they get to see that Ronnie is actually a very handy
But
bowler.
at the
Uh,
same time, having four seamers is we don't have any spinners. We only have Shakib,
Yeah.
and that does not give us a
we
lot of
don't, yeah,
options. So
we don't.
having
That's
so if Shakib is having a bad day, we don't have any slow bowlers. Yeah, we can potentially have Riyad come and bowl few overs, but we know like that's not gonna
Right.
happen. Like that's not the
Yeah.
tactics of the team. So maybe that's why having
Um.
another
I,
spinner might be a good idea.
right. I'm just gonna ask Mufi. The squad I saw was posted on Quick Buzz just to make sure Hyder's in there. Can you
Heather is in there.
can
Yep.
you check Quick Info as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, Hyder should get a chance. I feel like.
yeah. I think what they may do in that case, and I agree with Mufi that what they can do is maybe they can play Oppo for the first game and see how the conditions are playing out, because we haven't really played in Dubai ever, if I'm right, or nothing in recent times at least. So we kind of don't know. Let's if it does turn out to be a flat road, then I don't understand why we would need 20 overs from a spinner on a flat road against an Asian opponent. If it does have some turn, then I think yes, Oppo should be the front leader, and he would do pretty well at that point.
It's because the role of Oppo and our spinners has been to come in that 20 to 40 overs and contain the batsman.
Right.
And this strategy works in T20, also also somewhat in the ODIs, and especially it'll work against Afghanistan because they will try
Yeah.
to hit the balls and they'll try to take advantage. But I don't know how much it'll work against the likes of Sri Lankan batsmen. So maybe we can have Ronnie coming in for the first game, and if he performs, if he does well, then obviously he'll be for the Afghanistan game. But if he doesn't, then Oppo should come in for the second game.
Or what we can do is we can have Oppo for the first game, and because we know that Afghanistan is a little better against spinners, we can maybe set out Oppo for the second game and bring in Ronnie. Uh,
I think
that's what.
Afghanistan will struggle against spinners rather than pacers.
Okay.
Right.
That remains to be seen. If I was just going by my past knowledge, my past memory of Afghanistan in ODI, and
Mhm.
our Pacers did a phenomenal job against them.
Because
So that's what I was going by.
the type of bowler Oppo is, he'll bowl wicket to wicket and he will aim for the LBW. And I think a couple of Afghanistan batsmen will struggle with the arm ball and with the straight one that just goes straight through. Uh, so I think it's. I mean, I'm okay with either ways, having four seamers or not having
Yeah, me
Oppo.
too.
So
Yeah.
Right.
so
That's the interesting thing I just noticed. We're actually okay with a number of options. Normally, it's just one team, and we feel like if this team doesn't play, then something's going to go wrong. But in this case, in the Asia Cup, I feel like we have a number of different combinations that we can feel. We just have to perform. It comes down to performing
right.
today.
I think it was a good squad. I think it was a good squad of 15 under 16, and
Yeah.
Mominul is here. So right now we have
I,
our.
What do you guys feel about this Sri Lanka team? Since we were playing them first on the 15th, who should we look out for? Any danger man, or who could really hurt us? To say,
I would actually look out for Tisara Pereira if he's playing.
oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
uh,
that's good.
this guy, I have no clue how he does so good against us always, but so I would watch out for him, especially his batting. Like the team can be a pretty slow, but then he's the kind of guy who knows our bowlers really well. He plays in the BPL. He's pretty experienced with our bowlers. He can make the difference between a 240 and a 280, 290. So I would watch out for him. And Akila Dhananjaya, this guy has been getting better. If from what I have seen, he was a little inconsistent when he started out, but I think with Haturi's backup, he's actually getting better, and he's the kind of bowler that could get rid of our lefties like Tamim and Shaki pretty quickly. So and I totally imagine he's gonna bowl the first over. Hattori is gonna make him bowl the first over against Tamim, because Tamim always has his issues against spinners when getting started. So that's another guy I would watch out for.
I can almost imagine Tamim coming down the track in the
Yeah,
first
exactly. We all
ball.
can.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean
and missing it.
that's some good insight from Rinat. I've noticed Akila Dhananjaya. I hope I'm getting that right as well. He was the star performer against South Africa, was he not? If you have to pick out one bowler who you should look out for, it was Akila. So
And Sri Lanka also comes off from two ODI wins against South Africa. So they won the last two ODIs, the fourth and the fifth
right,
ODI. So even though I think they lost the series, they won the last two. So they do have that. So they have probably found that a good combination.
right.
And so maybe they will try to go with that same combination and the same chemistry. So we have to watch out for that.
I hope they do, because what I don't wish for is them bringing back Malinga, because for some weird reason we always do bad against these legacy bowlers like Nuwan Kulasekara, Malinga.
I don't think we have to worry about Malinga anymore. He is way past his peak.
I don't agree. We have a tendency to somehow get figured out by these legacy. I call them legacy bowlers. in there for I would take Kumara or Lakmal any day of the week over Malinga. That's for me. But
Lakmal, those guys are in good form. Lakmal and Shuranga Lakmal and this Pradeep. I don't know if he's in the squad. Nuwan Pradeep is another of their bowlers. Let me just look at the squad. Yep.
And I was just looking at their last ODI. Akila Dhananjaya, he took 6 wickets for 29 runs against South Africa. He ran through that lineup, and I just remembered watching their highlights. So yeah, he could be a difference maker, I think.
right. And remember, for every one of our Arifuls and Mithuns, they have Dekwala and Gunalatika who can hit just as much.
Yeah.
Probably, you know what? They're more proven. They are more proven than our guys because they've got more chances and they've had more experience at the international level. So this is going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
And
this is not
it's going to be a tough match. And the fact that Hattori is going to have a plan for us, that's very obvious. And there's always that, like, he has a point to prove still that he took over the role, and then his Sri Lankan team is better than our team. So he has that point to prove because he did not live in good terms with any of our senior players or our PCB. So I think he will have a very solid plan to attack Tamim, the Shakib, Riyad, and the Mushfiqs. Like, he knows this player in and out. And even when he was at our team, Bangladesh, he seemed to always have a plan. Yeah, sometimes the plan did not work, but so I'm not expecting otherwise from him this time either. So he will come up with a very good plan to attack and somehow beat us. So it'll be interesting on a lot of levels.
Right. We went through the lineups already. You saw the different combinations that can be tried. What if we are going to go by worst case scenario? Say Tamim is out, Shakib is out. Just as I'm a big fan of Haider, I know Rinat's a huge fan of Shanto. So, do you think
Shanto's not in the squad?
Yeah, Shanto's not in the squad. If Tamim is out,
Shanto is injured. Shanto got injured.
Last time I checked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
He is still in the squad, but I think he did get injured. I don't know if he has recovered or not. But if Tamim doesn't play, then I think it's going to be it's probably going to be Mithun opening. That's the funny part, because I don't see any other opener in the squad.
What about
Mithun is the only guy who can open, and then Mominul is probably gonna play number 3. That's probably what's gonna be the squad.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Unless they make Mominul open, then at that case I think they will have a spot for Miraz or Musaddiq or both somewhere in the middle. But I hope not.
I doubt it. I doubt Mominul will open, because even in the Ireland tour he did not. So,
yeah.
And they're not gonna make him open in Asia Cup. Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So I hope Shakib, because I I remember seeing another news saying that Shakib has emailed BCB back and clarified
I
that
saw it.
his words were, misquoted. And yeah, and I was thinking too, I'm like, why would Shakib say he's 20 to 30% fit
Yeah.
after what has been named already? That's ridiculous. So, yeah, I feel like he is going to play for sure. Tamim, I don't know. Uh, Tamim doesn't strike me as someone who will play if he's 50% fit. Um, so that may be, and if he isn't fit, then it's a surprising move by BCB too, because
Yeah.
they don't have a backup opener,
Yeah.
and they know that Tamim is injured. They don't have anyone on that standby, that's gonna go and replace him right away. At least not for the first game, anyways.
Yeah.
So I would assume that they're pretty confident about Tamim playing.
Yeah, we had a good player-by-player discussion, but just to zoom back out at a more macro level, what do you make of all this Shakib news about 30%, 70% coming up with these numbers? Is he playing or not? Because I know you have some inside info, Rinat, on this type of stuff. Is he actually playing for
It's
the squad or?
it's no inside info. I mean,
I'm
it's
kidding.
our
Yeah.
our media has been bored of all the lack of cricket for a while now, and they're literally trying to create statistics, create percentages. Um, I Shakib being Shakib, he would never tell a reporter that he is a certain percentage fit. If he shares that information, it will be with someone from BCB, not with like a news reporter from, I don't know, whatever ABC newspaper. So I think that was miscoded, and I don't even know how they would get in touch with Shakib, because Shakib was not even in Bangladesh in the first place. He was in Hajj, and then he was in the States. So I didn't believe it when I read it, because like I said, I firmly believe that before announcing that squad, they had a good conversation with Shakib,
Exactly.
because they are expected to have a good
There
conversation
you
with
go.
all the five senior players. They would not name a squad not knowing about Shakib's fitness. So I don't believe that.
Right, exactly. That's what I needed to hear. So thanks for that. Seniors aside, the juniors, we've talked about this topic, we've beaten it to death. But yeah, don't you think it's time? Like Liton rescues the team every single time, and not not like and not Tamim and the main guy be Liton. I'm expecting something big, like for this to be as a revelation series or something, where he firmly establishes himself. I mean, this is coming from a fan. I don't know how practical that is. I can hope, right? So,
Um,
what are
I'm
your
just gonna
yeah,
ask you though. I'm gonna ask you though. Oh, aside, Liton aside, let's say what about the toss? We win the toss, Roey, and Mufi can answer that too after him. What would you do,
if it,
knowing our potentially with a full side squad? What would you do if you win the toss?
right. I'm trying to think what they did against South Africa, Sri Lanka. The games they won, they they bowled second,
Um,
right?
Sri Lanka bowled second, yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
the last two ODIs they played, they won and they bowled second. So I think we should bat first. Uh, I don't. I That's probably counter logic to what I just said, but I don't know. It's an ODI. We have established batting lineup. What I can say is, and I've touched on it briefly, but these are things I firmly believe in, so I have to repeat them. If we score 300, they're out. We have too much, all the guile of Mashrafe and just their fielding unit comes together. It's more spirited effort when they post up a big total. If you can get a total of 300, I think we're safe. So that's probably what I'd do. Depending on the conditions, it is a day and night match, right? It begins at 3 p.m. local time, 3:30. So,
okay.
uh,
What about you, Mufi?
Yeah, I think we should bat first because historically we've been better at defending the score rather than chasing it. Almost always towards the end, we would somehow miss a chase. So I think, and also the nerve and the pressure will get to us when we're chasing. So when we bat first, Tamim and Leighton will have a lot of freedom to come in and play. Because if Sri Lanka puts up a good score, we will have that pressure onto us and we'll start playing stupid shots. So I think we should bat first, put up 300. I mean, we have to put up a 280 at least minimum. So it has to be anything upwards of 280. If we get, as Roy said, around the 300 mark, I think we should be able to defend that score. So it also depends on the pitch, and I think it might be easier to bowl under the lights because it's a day-night game. So, but if everything holds the same, I think we should bat first.
Yeah. No, I agree with that too. I think, especially with that point about bowling under lights, I think the temperature, it cools down a little bit at night. So, it's going to be easier for the fielding unit to field when it's at night rather than in the midday. It's always going to be tough in Dubai. And especially we are known to be a better side at defending a total.
Right.
So I would also back ourselves to bat first if we win the toss.
And I'd just like to add the last two T20s we played against West Indies, we were able to defend somewhat of a decent score, especially against a very good explosive West Indies side. With Russell, with Brathwaite, and all those players. So I think with that combination, we should be able to do the same in the ODIs.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to go back, because I noted it down before. So the fourth and fifth ODI, Sri Lanka, they did bat first, and they put up good scores, and they're able to defend. So when they bat first, they put up good scores. They don't have a problem defending. So if we have the luxury of winning the toss, I think we shouldn't give them that privilege of batting first. We should be the ones stepping up and posting that good total. And then we can defend it in turn. So Sri Lanka can do the same. They've shown against South Africa in the last two ODIs. Even though one of them had Duckworth Lewis, I believe, method. But
right, the fourth ODI, right.
Yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, they can also score big and defend. And so can we.
The only reason why Mashrafi may bowl first is, usually what happens with Bangladesh is on a tour opener or a series opener or a tournament opener, we're pretty nervy, and when we bat nervy, like it kind of you're at a slight disadvantage at that point. Like therefore realizing what's going on, you lost like 3 or 4 wickets. This thought is not effective for later games, but just the first game. It might be what Mashrafi thinks, but again, I think on a perfect given day on a balanced pitch, there is no reason for someone to bowl first unless they are very, very confident at chasing like India is. So yeah.
Right. Something else I'll learn, and after this we'll wrap it up with our predictions. So about the sponsorship, I think Roby pulled out. So I don't know if they're going to be sponsoring. I think it'll be some other company. If there's a sponsor at all, if they can manage another sponsor. So look out for that when you see the
there is a sponsor. Yeah. We do have a new sponsor. Yeah, it's Unilever. They're a very big company. Yeah, so it's a BCB did a really, really good job to get another sponsor right away, and it's not a temporary sponsorship either. It's a sponsorship that's gonna last them until after the World Cup. So we have it. We don't need to worry about sponsorship for the next bit, and it's a pretty good replacement, I think. And I think it's a good move too, with a lot of our players being attached to other cellular companies in Bangladesh. It was creating a conflict of interest, and I can totally understand Roby's point of view too. So I think it's a good move with Unilever. I think it's a good decision. They have been sponsoring the Dhaka Dynamites team, so they are pretty much into the cricket, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Right, I'm just happy they got a new sponsor in this short amount of time that they have. Mufi, you want to add something, or we can go to the predictions right after?
Let's go to predictions then.
All right.
So we'll start with you.
Obviously, we would win. It might not be easy, but I think it'll be a close game. The first 20 overs will probably make the outcome of the game. Like we'll know which team is kind of nervy, as you said. Sri Lanka is also will be nervy because this is a big tournament, and we don't have any practice match. We're just going straight into this the first game. So I think we have the better squad. We have the more stable squad, and the Fab Five, I call it. With they should be able to carry this team, and we go with. I see, Roy, you're smirking about what I said. Fab Five.
Well,
But,
one guy in there, one guy in that. Never mind. People will get it. Just okay.
Yes.
Go.
So, but I think, but I think we should win.
Rinat?
Yeah. Um, yeah. There is no way I'm gonna predict a lose in this case scenario. I mean, I'm really excited about this. I think Bangladesh is ready. The coaches have worked really hard. It was evident in all the news and the clips we got. Unlike any other times before, they worked pretty hard. We had a proper coaching unit. We had proper preparation. We had a good tour to finish. Our players are looking good. So yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about what happens. And I'm just gonna let you finish the prediction, Rui, and then I'm just gonna add one note in the end.
For sure. Uh, yeah, as you guys were answering, I just realized what a stupid question it was. No Bangladesh is going to go against their own team, especially when Sri Lanka didn't show us anything that merited them being a super team or something like that. If it was India, and we're going to get to that maybe in a later episode, it'll be something else. But with Sri Lanka, no. You have to be optimistic, and I think if we can bat 300, if we can post it for 300, then they have no chance. If they do, then if Sri Lanka fans watching this, you can hate on me. I'll grant you that. But I think if we can post 300, they don't have a chance. Yeah, Rina.
Okay. Yeah, and just to wrap it up, I'm gonna say something which is not exactly related to the Asia Cup. I'm just gonna uh, say this to all our fans. I know we don't have a lot of people watching us yet, but whoever is watching, I'm just gonna tell you guys, be very professional and very humble in social media for this tournament. I know there's a lot of rivalry that's gonna be starting, especially in the against Pakistan, against Sri Lanka, against India, Afghanistan. And I would just ask all our Bangladeshi fans to be very humble, be realistic, be passionate about the team, and let's not do what the other teams are doing. Let's not go bash other. Let's not go bash a Pakistani player in a Pakistan versus India game. That's none of our business. We should be focused on our team, and let's not turn this Asia Cup, even though it is a rivalry tournament. Let's not turn this into a social media fight, because we have seen this in the past, and especially from the Bangladeshi fans, I think we need to tone it down a little bit. We need to be quiet, let our boys do the job.
Right. Exactly, Rinat. And I want to say that we're not a monolith to begin with. There's so many different types of fans, but it would be ideal if all of the fans didn't to engage in the type of behavior that you just laid out. But
Yeah.
I also want to say it's unfair for somebody else to then characterize, then use that example, use that one example of a fan, then label, just paint us all with the same brush. So that shouldn't be done as well. But yeah, I mean, everything you said, I second that. So
I mean,
Yeah.
our team has been growing, and for the last couple of years, it's time that the fans also start to grow and understand the game as well and respect the opponents.
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. We need to be respecting every team, including Hong Kong, including Afghanistan, and let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just enjoy the game. We can celebrate. If we can win this tournament, which will be our first major tournament, then we can come out, and I don't even think we will need to demand respect. We will automatically get that respect after that.
I mean, respect
So
has to be earned.
let's
It's not
Yeah.
something that you
exactly,
have to fight for.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
that's something.
But
Yeah.
but what I like about what Renat said, as a fan, you can always respect the opponent no matter what. Like I mentioned before, I saw some people taking Afghanistan lightly. It makes me nervous. I don't want to do that. And I showed Sri Lanka respect. They're going to be, I've said that many times, they're a very dangerous squad. They're getting better and better. But yes, if you win, we should celebrate. When I say they don't have a chance, it's the fan in me coming out. But I can also hold that view, and then simultaneously I can also respect them because they're getting better every day. So
Yeah.
we're going over just an hour now. So I think that'll be it for this episode. Thank you guys for joining us. And again, this is the Yorker. I hope to see you soon, possibly after the first match with Sri Lanka. And I hope you guys will join us for that one. Thank you guys. Thank you to my co-hosts for being here and providing your opinion.
Thank you for having us. And fingers crossed for our first game.
Let's hope. Go Tigers.
Yeah, go Tigers.